It's vitally important that you and I know who our adversaries are. Hi, this is Barry Phillips with 10-Minute Torah, day number 3 of the double Torah portion, Chukat and Balak. We'll finish up Chukat today with chapter number 21 and read verse 1 from that chapter from Bamidbar, or Numbers. The sovereign of Arad, the Canaanite who dwelt in the south, heard that Israel was coming on the way to Athrim, and he fought against Israel and took some of them captive. Before we get into this particular part of it, let's just be reminded we buried Aaron yesterday on Mount Hor. And Mount Hor is significant in that it's found in the land of Esau, that is Edom. And it is the rabbinical mind and understanding that Edom is the progenitor of the Romans, from which is derived the professional church system, something I'll call churchianity. This does not refer to those that are very devout and sincere-hearted individuals sitting on a Sunday morning pew, praising, worshiping, magnifying the Most High, and doing their best to live according to the Word as they understand it. But this refers more to the nominal church, to the professional presentation of things. Now, that can go into a lot of different areas. I'll let you imagine what you will. We're talking about those then that are given to the pomp, the splendor, the circumstance of the glitz and the glamour, and putting on a professional presentation. And it's all about the presentation. Somehow the Messiah gets lost in the mix. Lives are not changed. Righteousness is not required. We feel good about ourselves. We receive some self-help. We all shake hands and pat each other on the back, pay our price, and go home, live our lives as usual. That's what we're talking about. It's a very dangerous group of people. Hold on with me. Aaron, the high priest then of the Levitical priesthood, is buried here. Today it's still buried there. The Levitical understanding of worship and protocols and approaching the Most High never makes it to the surface in the professional churchianity realm. It's buried. It's unknown. There's no realization of what's going on there in the revelation of Messiah Yeshua in the midst of the altar and the laver and the tabernacle and all that it contains. So it's buried. It's, again, a very dangerous group of people. Now we come to Arad the Kenani. He hears that Israel's coming. It's interesting that this man's name means, and I mean no offense here, but it means that he is a wild ass or a donkey. Who is this man to us? If we go over to Bereshit or Genesis chapter 16, we will find that Ishmael is also reckoned very similarly. He is called, well, let's just say a wild donkey of a man. But what's also interesting is that in Hosea chapter 8, verse 7 through 9, you will find that there is one also referenced in like terms, and this time it's Ephraim. Now, what does Arad the Kenani, Ishmael, and Ephraim have to do with one another? What's being said here? Well, Ishmael today is found among the Arabic peoples. He is violent. He is aggressive. His hand is against everyone. He fills the streets with wild, rock-throwing, gun-blazing mobs. And unfortunately, Ephraim can be similarly described. Wait a minute, we sit together in Torah study. We eat together at Shabbat tables. What are we talking about here? We're not talking about the Ephraim that is a part of the restoration and reconciliation of all Israel and the house of Yehudah together, as is envisioned and prophesied in Ezekiel chapter 37. But we're talking about unrepentant Ephraim. You see, there is a part of Ephraim that wants nothing to do with the Hebrew roots realization of things. There's a part of unrepentant Ephraim that doesn't want to go back to the Torah or really to follow after the ways of Yahweh at all. He is more rooted in the likeness of Jeroboam and gold calf worship and feeling good and doing what feels good and paying nominally to an idol such as would give him an idea that all is well. Make no mistake about it. The nominal professional church of churchianity is dangerous. They're the supporters of the BDS movement. They're the grab on to the latest trend movement. They are the will accept anybody no matter what they do and how they live movement. They would walk hand in hand with the United Nations and promote brotherly good feelings, not necessarily love, toward one another. And they would stand against Israel in a heartbeat. Unrepentant Ephraim would do the same. It's very important that you know who your adversaries are. And so what did Arad hear? Well, Rashi says that he heard that Aaron had died. And maybe Israel is vulnerable, and at least initially they proved to be so. And so Israel now is beginning to learn, okay, if we're going to go into the land, we're going to have to fight for it. Now, who said anything about fighting? We've been numbered, we've been organized militarily, but we really haven't practiced sword fighting. I don't really know how to use this sword, shield, and spear thing. I think I do. I think I'll be all right, but I really don't know what I am doing. Who said anything about going up against armies? Really? Did we think that we're just going to waltz in to where demon-infested mobs reign, where anti-Semitic nations exist, and they're going to cower in fear in front of us and simply throw down their weapons and walk away? My friend, when Messiah Yeshua returns, there is a bloodbath. There is war. You and I may just need to get our minds wrapped around the fact that at some point, at some circumstance, against some adversary that presents themselves against the kingdom of Yah and against his holy desire, somebody's going to have to at least throw a punch. Now, I'm not advocating going out and getting violent and being obnoxious and getting yourself arrested. But there is a day coming that you just need to get your mind wrapped around. That may be the case. And so Israel begins to complain. Now, where have we heard this before? And they complain loudly. And Yah sends in serpents, fiery serpents. Now, are these holy serpents? My friend, Yah has the ability to pull back his hand of protection and Hasatan attack with abandon. That, in my estimation, may be what's going on here. These fiery serpents are biting people and they're dying. And then he says, Moshe, raise up a serpent on a pole made of bronze, and those who look to it will be healed. The red heifer, the rock, the water flowing from the rock, the manna on the ground, the tabernacle, the cloud of fire, the priesthood, the brazen altar. All of these things point to Messiah Yeshua. How many revelations of Messiah do we have to have? How many times does Yah have to reveal him to us in a different angle, a different perspective, a different view? One more time, he reveals Yeshua being lifted up. Yeshua saying, if I be lifted up, I will draw all men to me. Revealing that one is going to be put on a pole, an executioner's stake in their behalf. And if they will look to him, there is healing and there is deliverance. So once more, we find then that we need to look up. Don't worry about those fighting in the streets. Don't worry about those shooting one another. Don't worry about the wars yet. Look up. Get your eyes on Messiah Yeshua. Be healed. Be made whole. And when the day comes, Yah will teach us to fight. Be sure you know who your adversaries are. More tomorrow. Shalom.